माननीय सभासदों, माननीय सभापति महोदया,
all the members present here. Now, let us begin this fruitful session. Secretary General, please take the oath and affirmation.
Srimati Trisha, who stands elected from Prayagraj region of Uttar Pradesh, will now take oath or affirmation. Srimati Trisha. Madam, do you want to take oath or affirmation?
Oath, please.
In which language would you like to take oath?
In Hindi, please. मैं त्रिशा, जो युवा संसद की लोकसभा की सदस्य निर्वाचित हुई हूँ, ईश्वर की शपथ लेती हूँ कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूंगी, देश की प्रभुता और एकता बनाए रखूंगी तथा जिस पद को मैं ग्रहण करने वाली हूँ उसके कर्तव्यों का श्रद्धापूर्वक निर्वहन करूंगी।
Srimati Jia, who stands elected from Chennai Central constituency of Tamil Nadu, will now take oath or affirmation. Srimati Jia. Madam, do you want to take oath or affirmation?
Oath, please.
In which language would you like to take oath?
In English, please. I, Jia Jayesh, having been elected a member of the lower house of the Youth Parliament, do swear in the name of God that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, and that I will faithfully discharge the duty upon which I am about to enter.
Srimati Ankita, who stands elected from Mysore constituency of Karnataka, will now take oath or affirmation. Srimati Ankita. Madam, do you want to take oath or affirmation?
Oath, please.
In which language would you like to take oath?
In Kannada, please. ನಾನು ಅಂಕಿತಾ, ಯುವ ಸಂಸತ್ತಿನ ಕೆಲಮನೆಯ ಸದಸ್ಯರಾಗಿ ಚುನಾಯಿತರಾಗಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ನಾನು ಕಾನೂನಿನ ಮೂಲಕ ಸ್ಥಾಪಿಸಿದಂತೆ ಭಾರತದ ಸಂವಿಧಾನಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಜವಾದ ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಮತ್ತು ನಿಷ್ಠತೆಯನ್ನು ಹೊಂದುತ್ತೇನೆ ಎಂದು ದೇವರ ಹೆಸರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ಮಾಡಿ ಭಾರತದ ಸಾರ್ವಭೌಮತೆ ಮತ್ತು ಸಮಗ್ರತೆಯನ್ನು ಎತ್ತಿ ಹಿಡಿಯಲು ಮತ್ತು ನಾನು ಪ್ರವೇಶಿಸಲಿರುವ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯವನ್ನು ನಿಷ್ಠತೆಯಿಂದ ನಿರ್ವಹಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ.
Srimati Vaishnavi, who stands elected from Jalandhar constituency of Punjab, will now take oath or affirmation. Srimati Vaishnavi. Madam, do you want to take oath or affirmation?
Affirmation, please.
In which language would you like to take affirmation?
In Hindi, please. मैं वैष्णवी कुमारी जो युवा संसद की सदस्य निर्वाचित हुई हूँ, मैं सत्य निष्ठा से प्रतिज्ञा करती हूँ कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूँगी, देश की संप्रभुता व अखंडता अक्षुण्ण रखूँगी तथा जिस पद को मैं ग्रहण करने वाली हूँ उसके कर्तव्यों का श्रद्धापूर्वक निर्वहन करूँगी।
Honorable members, as we meet today, it is my sad duty to inform the House of the recent death of Mr. Nataraj Chinnaswamy, who passed away in the stampede which occurred in Hathras, Uttar Pradesh on the 16th of July 2024. He was previously a member of the Union Ministry and was somebody who was extremely hardworking and sincere towards his job. He has helped many people in our country to help them understand their rights.
Honorable Speaker, ma'am, I rise to pay my tribute to Shri Nataraj Chinnaswamy, whose death has been deeply mourned by all. He was a man with great experience and will be always remembered. A man who had dedicated his life to social service by promoting various campaigns and movements for the people, to understand and educate them. The way he departed from this world is truly upsetting and is a major setback for the country as well as for the political struggle. We have lost a wonderful soul at an early age of his political career of only 4 years. We have lost a great human and a great leader. We have lost a true gem.
माननीय महोदया जी, मैं आपके और सदन के नेता द्वारा दी गई श्रद्धांजलि से खुद को जोड़ता हूँ। मुझे श्री नटराज चिन्नास्वामी जी के साथ एक सहयोगी के रूप में काम करने का सौभाग्य मिला। वह एक ऐसे व्यक्ति थे जो अपने मधुर स्वभाव के कारण कभी किसी के लिए परेशानी नहीं बनते थे। श्री नटराज चिन्नास्वामी जी जितने जीवट व्यक्ति थे उससे कई अधिक एक सहृदय व्यक्ति थे। हमने उनके रूप में एक बहुत अच्छे सामाजिक कार्यकर्ता और देशभक्त व्यक्तित्व को खो दिया है। मैं शोक संतप्त परिवार के प्रति अपनी संवेदना व्यक्त करने में स्वयं और अपनी पार्टी को शामिल करना चाहूँगा। धन्यवाद महोदया जी।
The House may stand for a minute to express our deep sorrow.
Yes, madam.
Now, Honorable Prime Minister, will you please introduce the new ministers?
Honorable Speaker, ma'am, I have the pleasure to introduce to you and through you to the House my colleagues, the new minister, Srimati Maitri, Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Justice, and Shriman Rehan, Minister of Women and Child Development.
Very well. We shall now begin with the question hour. Question number 101, Srimati Himani.
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदया, आपके माध्यम से मैं माननीय रेलवे मंत्री का ध्यान इस ओर आकर्षित करना चाहती हूँ कि अभी कुछ ही दिनों के अंदर देश में कई रेलवे दुर्घटनाएं हुई है। महोदया, हम जानना चाहते हैं कि इस तरह की बड़ी दुर्घटनाओं को रोकने के लिए हमारी सरकार क्या ठोस कदम उठाने जा रही है। धन्यवाद महोदया।
Honorable Ministry of Railway, Srimati Sanjana.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, yes, railway-related fatalities have unfortunately seen an increase in the recent years, highlighting the critical need for enhanced safety measures and infrastructural developments. Various factors contribute to these accidents, including human error, miscommunication, technical failures, or inadequate infrastructure. To address these challenges, railway authorities and government worldwide are implementing several key infrastructural changes. Firstly, there's a significant emphasis on upgrading signaling system and implementing advanced technologies such as automatic train control (ATC) system to prevent collisions and to regulate train speed more effectively. We are also ensuring that the tracks are in optimal condition, minimizing derailments.
What about draft stacking?
Please maintain the decorum of the House.
And yes, staff training is a crucial covering. Some steps taken by the Indian Railways for staff training are operational safety, emergency response, communication protocol, and continuous improvement. I repeat that: operational safety, emergency response, communication protocol, and continuous improvement. By investing in these comprehensive measures, we are ensuring that we can provide a more safer and reliable railway transportation system to the citizens of our country. Thank you, Your Honor.
We will now proceed with the next question. Question number 102, Srimati Bhavna.
Honorable Speaker, ma'am, will the Minister of Education be pleased to state what measures are being taken to bridge the education gap between the rural and urban area? Second, what initiatives are being taken to reduce the stress and pressure associated with high-stake, I repeat, high-stake education like various entrance exams?
Honorable Ministry of Education, Srimati Anya.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, the great aim of education is not knowledge but the action. Our government keeps this thing in our mind. We have been supporting financial aid, providing midday meal schemes involving school management and parents. We have improved the rural areas' road connectivity to make sure the children are reaching their school on time and in a safer manner. Madam, we have also included measures such as reduction of syllabus, making sure that the aspirants get multiple attempts, and introduction of various new online learning and guiding platforms to keep up with the zeal of the aspirants. Thank you, ma'am.
Any supplementary questions? Shriman Arush.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, I would like to know if there are any measures taken by the government to prevent the rapidly increasing rate of suicides amongst young students. Is it perhaps due to the pressure caused by competitive exams?
Honorable Ministry of Education, Srimati Anya.
Madam, I will resolve this issue by conducting a new survey, which is an ongoing process.
Wasn't 3 years enough to conduct the research?
Please maintain the decorum.
Madam, we did have the solution, we did try above it, but it didn't work. So I assure every present member over here that by the next session, I will surely present you all with the solution. Thank you, Madam.
Very well. We shall now proceed with the next question. Question number 103, Srimati Sahiti.
Respected Speaker, Madam, will the Minister of Tourism be pleased to state the foreign exchange earnings from the tourists during the last 3 years year-wise? I repeat, last 3 years. The names of the 5 countries on the top from the point of view of tourist arrivals in India.
Honorable Ministry of Tourism, Srimati Pratiksha.
Honorable Speaker, ma'am, thank you. I would like to state that the estimated foreign exchange earnings from tourism during the last 3 years were as follows. In 2021 to 22, rupees 1.23 lakh crores. In 2022 to 23, rupees 1.45 lakh crores. And in 2023 to 24, rupees 1.68 lakh crores. I repeat, rupees 1.68 lakh crores. These figures represent the revenue generated by international tourists visiting India, contributing significantly to the country's economy. Also, the 5 countries on top in terms of tourist arrivals in India during the year 2023 were the United States of America, the United Kingdom, Bangladesh, Canada, and Australia. These countries represent the highest number of international tourists visiting India, enhancing cultural exchange and contributing to the nation's tourism sector.
Any supplementary questions? Supplementary question to Srimati Jinsi.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, thank you for giving this opportunity to me. Madam, we would also like to know the latest update on the indentation of tourism circuits.
Ministry of Tourism, Srimati Pratiksha.
Ministry has identified 50 circuits for development of tourism in the country, covering a mix of culture, heritage, spiritualism, and ecotourism. Significantly, the Kashmir Circuit, the beach, and the Fort Circuit. We have also formulated a plan, Swadesh Darshan, for integrated development of tourist circuits around specific themes. The 5 circuits identified under this scheme includes the Buddhist Circuit, the Himalayan Circuit, and many more.
Very well. Very well. We shall now proceed with the next question. Question number 104, Shriman Hemant.
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, आजकल एक कथन बड़ा प्रचलित है, अच्छे दिन के लालच में सब कुछ गवाई, अच्छे दिन के लालच में सब कुछ गवाई, बुरे हाल हो चुके हैं बोझ बनी महंगाई, बुरे हाल हो चुके हैं बोझ बनी महंगाई। आज कुछ ऐसा ही हाल हमारे देश के लोगों का हो चुका है। सरकार के ध्यान न देने के कारण देश में दिन प्रतिदिन महंगाई बढ़ती जा रही है, अपनी सीमाओं को लांघती जा रही है। भला इस महंगाई से एक गरीब व्यक्ति कैसे सामना कर सकता है? उसका तो एक समय का खाना खाना तक मुश्किल हो जाएगा। मैडम, 1/5 पॉपुलेशन ऑफ इंडिया गो टू स्लीप विद एम्प्टी स्टमक। क्या ऐसे पूरा होगा एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत का सपना? जिस दिन इस देश में एक गरीब से गरीब व्यक्ति तीनों समय का खाना खा पाएगा, उस दिन कहना एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत। उससे पहले ऐसे झूठे दावे युवा संसद में ना किए जाएं तो ही बेहतर है। महोदया, इन्हीं कारणों के कारण मैं जानना चाहता हूं कि बढ़ती महंगाई के संबंध में सरकार ऐसे कौन से विशेष कदम उठा रही है ताकि महंगाई को कम किया जा सके, और यदि महंगाई कम न हो पाई तो सरकार नागरिकों के लिए इस महंगाई से निपटने के लिए कौन से कदम उठाएगी? धन्यवाद महोदय।
Honorable Ministry of Finance, Srimati Lakshmi.
Honorable Speaker, ma'am, in response to the ongoing global economic challenges and recent spikes in inflation, the government is implementing a multi-phased approach to control inflation. Our measures include, we are mainly prioritizing spending on essential services, infrastructure projects that have long-term benefits for economic stability and growth. Educational campaigns are being conducted to inform consumers and businesses about the ways to mitigate the impact of inflation. According to India's most recent fiscal report, I repeat, according to India's most recent fiscal report, India's public debt stands at approximately 150 lakh crore. Yes, 150 lakh crore. But for this, the Indian government has developed a comprehensive strategy to manage and pay down debt over time. We do this by fostering a favorable business environment, encouraging investment, and supporting key industries. We aim to boost economic growth. A stronger economy leads to higher tax revenues, which can be used to pay down debt. Investing in innovation, technology, and infrastructure projects that have high-term economic returns to spur long-term growth. These are the steps taken by us to be able to ensure extreme efficiency, and these are being followed immediately. अंत में महोदया, मैं बस ये कहना चाहती हूँ कि दुनिया में भारत की विकास दर सबसे अधिक है और यहाँ महंगाई यूरोप और अन्य देशों के मुकाबले सबसे कम है। धन्यवाद।
Any supplementary questions? Shriman Ayash.
Speaker Madam, I am failing to understand when this immediately refers to. Since the previous session, the government is not being able to provide a clear answer on this matter. The same answer was provided as well in the previous session. What's the government doing? And it's not being implemented till now.
I understand, Sir Yash. These things must be implemented by the 20th of next month, and I shall see to it myself.
I understand, Madam Speaker, and I assure you and the House that these things would be implemented by the 20th of the next month.
Very well. Now, we will go on with the next question. Question number 105, Srimati Grishma.
Honorable Speaker Madam, through you, I would like to ask the Minister of Labour. Firstly, why has the child labour increased by 54% in urban areas? 10.1 million children, I repeat, 10.1 million children are still victims of child labour. What is the government going to do about this? युवा ही इस देश का भविष्य है, युवा ही इस देश का भविष्य है और इस अखंड राष्ट्र का निर्माण करने की योग्यता रखता है. Considering the increasing rates of unemployment among youth, what strategies are being developed to create more job opportunities and ensure the young people are equipped with the skills needed for the future job market?
Honorable Minister of Labour, Srimati Kirtana.
Respected Speaker Madam, the government is taking serious measures to combat child labour by implementing robust tracking systems to monitor and address violations. And to tackle the rising youth unemployment, the government is expanding vocational training programs in schools and colleges and aligning education with circular market demands through collaborations between institutions and industries and enhancing opportunities for internships and apprenticeships. Additionally, to improve the livelihood of uneducated workers, the government is taking comprehensive steps such as revising minimum wages, enhancing employment through Manrega, and promoting skill development programs. And awareness campaigns and digital inclusive initiatives are being rolled out to ensure that the workers are informed about the available government schemes and aiming to provide better economic opportunities and financial security. I repeat, to provide better economic opportunities and financial security. Thank you, ma'am.
We will now proceed with the next question. Question number 106, Srimati Palak.
Honorable Speaker ma'am, through you, I would like to address the Health Minister that in light of growing concerns over common diseases, what specific measures in your ministry is implementing to prioritize growing diseases such as cancer? I repeat, growing diseases such as cancer. How can we ensure that these initiatives are sufficiently funded and equitably accessible to all young people, regardless of their geographical location or socio-economic status?
Ministry of Family Welfare and Health, Srimati Yashaswini.
Madam, as we know, yatra naryastu pujante ramante tatra devata means the place where women are respected, that is the place where God resides. For a girl, her health is her utmost priority. But nowadays, women are diagnosed by cervical cancer in their later life, which is dangerous and can be fatal as well. As we all know, prevention is much better than cure. The original price of vaccine is 1,400. But our government is implementing cervical vaccination scheme for the age group of girls 9 to 14 for free or even at low price, 700 or 800. As we know, CPR increases the chance of survival by 2 times. Our government is also planning to initiate medical as an extracurriculum subject in which students will learn some basic life skills such as EDP, first aid, CPR and many more. These skills can be implemented in their real life to save many lives until a professional help arrives. Madam, today a lot of medical colleges and hospitals are being constructed in rural and urban areas as well, so that the medical facilities are more approachable for the people and the treatment is being provided cheaper. Thank you, Madam.
We will now proceed with the next question. Question number 107, Srimati Purvika.
Honorable Speaker Madam, the young generation nowadays is using social media very much, which has triggered many problems like harassment faced by creators, getting hate speech content and even getting blackmailed. I would like to ask the ministry about the steps that have been taken to regulate social media platform and ensure that they perform diligently in the country. And I would also like to ask whether India is self-sufficient in fulfilling the demands of electronic and telecom items. Thank you.
Honorable Ministry of Communication and Technology, Srimati Kalyani.
Honorable Madam Speaker, it is disheartening to see that the young generation creators, the future of India, facing harassment, hate speech and blackmails. To save them, our government is establishing a clear framework outlining platform responsibilities, user rights and enforcement mechanisms. Social media is a powerful tool, but it can also be a reflection of our own insecurities. That is why we are enforcing strong data protection standards to safeguard user data and privacy, and have also established an independent body to oversee platform compliance, investigate complaints and impose penalties. सोशल मीडिया एक वरदान या एक अभिशाप, सोशल मीडिया एक वरदान या एक अभिशाप, सही तरीके से उपयोग किया जाए सभी के लिए वरदान ही है. Regarding self-sufficiency in electronic sectors, India has made significant strides in manufacturing but still faces some challenges. Despite that, we are collaborating with industry and educational institutions to align skill development programs with industry needs. And we are also providing funding for R&D activities to encourage innovation. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
We will now proceed with the next question. Question number 108, Shriman Samarth.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, through you, I would like to ask the Minister of Sports and Youth about the facilities are said to be available for women are nowhere as near as it is facilities provided to men, especially in certain sports like football and cricket. There has been improvement in quality of cricket for women, but their training and salary is still extremely low. Secondly, why are not the girls at school not joining any of these sports? Is it because they believe certain sports are only for boys? Do they think the sports like badminton, gymnastics or tennis are not meant for girls? They do not have a proper team, a coach or equipment. Why is it so? Why does the government not provide to them? Thank you, Speaker, Madam.
Honorable Ministry of Sports and Youth, Srimati Praveena.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, the Government of India is committed to promote gender equality in sports to ensure that the women athletes receive the support and facilities they deserve. We are also providing scholarships and financial grants to promising young female athletes to support their education and training hand in hand. We are also allocating more fund for the Women's Sport Development Program than any other program under the Ministry of Sports. We are launching community outreach programs to raise awareness about the importance of sports for women from rural economic background. We are implementing mentorship programs where successful female athletes can not only inspire but also guide the next generation of female sport enthusiasts. Madam, initiatives such as the Khelo India campaign, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Beti Khilao initiative, national sport leagues, grassroots talent identification, etc., etc., are taken place simultaneously in order to promote sports among young girls and break down traditional norms. We have handpicked girls from various corners of the nation and provided them with the best of facilities, as these young girls are talented and shall bring glory to our nation.
Any supplementary questions? Supplementary question to Srimati Ragini.
Madam, I would like to know what community outreach programs have been launched to raise awareness about importance of sports for girls and to break down gender stereotypes. Madam, through you, I want to tell that उड़ान भरने को वो आकाश में तैयार है। हर बंधन से परे जिंदगी अपने शर्त पर स्वीकार है। वो नारी है, धरती का गौरव आभार है। अबला नहीं सबला है, वो समझने की बस दरकार है।
Minister of Sports and Youth, Srimati Praveena.
Honorable Speaker Madam, the Government of India has several upcoming initiatives and projects aimed at further supporting women in sports. We are working on increasing the safety and facilities so that our girls can train in a more safe and effective manner. There is a special focus on women from the lower socio-economic background to fetch them a place in the industry of sports. मैं बस यही कहना चाहती हूँ कि महिलाओं को सशक्त बनाना ना सिर्फ उनका अधिकार है बल्कि पूरे समाज का कर्तव्य भी है। हमारी सरकार इसके लिए प्रतिबद्ध है। थैंक यू।
We will proceed with the last question. Question number 108, Srimati Satvika.
Respected Speaker Madam, I would like to ask the Ministry of Women and Child Development about how is the government ensuring the effective implementation of child protection laws and policies? Thank you, Speaker Madam.
Honorable Minister of Child and Women Development, Shriman Rehan.
Honorable Speaker Madam, the Government of India is deeply committed to ensuring the safety and welfare of children by enforcing strong child protection laws and policies. With key legislative frameworks like POCSO Act and Juvenile Justice, Care and Protection of Children Act, we aim to prevent and address child abuse, exploitation and trafficking. Our efforts include regular capacity building program for law enforcement to enhance their response to child-related cases. These cases are managed with sensitivity and efficiency. Additionally, we conduct public campaign through workshops and seminars to educate stakeholders and communities about the importance of child protection. Thank you, Your Honor.
We will now proceed with the breach of privilege.
Madam Speaker, a serious breach of privilege has been committed by the leading newspaper of Bengaluru while commenting on the recommendations for the latest rules of the new education system. The paper has attributed dishonest motives, and I have requested you to raise a question on that matter now.
Sir Gautam, have you given the notice of this earlier? You may give due notice along with the copy of the newspaper cutting, and I shall consider it, and you cannot spring such a surprise onto me like this.
Sir Speaker, I have already submitted the notice of it at 10 a.m. today.
It will be examined when it comes to me. I shall consider it and let you know my decision. Now papers to be laid. Honorable Minister of Electronics and Information Technology.
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं नवाचार विषय के तहत दस्तावेज की एक प्रति प्रस्तुत करने के लिए अनुमति चाहती हूँ। कृत्रिम बुद्धिमत्ता, रोबोटिक्स और ब्लॉकचेन जैसी प्रौद्योगिकी में प्रमुख नवाचारों और देश के विभिन्न क्षेत्रों पर प्रत्याशित प्रभावों पर प्रकाश डालने वाली एक विस्तृत रिपोर्ट प्रस्तुत है। यह रिपोर्ट इन सकारात्मक और नकारात्मक दोनों परिणामों के बारे में जानकारी प्रदान करती है। इस विश्लेषण पत्र में चर्चा की गई है प्रौद्योगिकी में प्रगति, कार्यबल, गोपनीयता के मुद्दों और डिजिटल विभाजन में बदलाव सहित सामाजिक संरचनाओं को कैसे प्रभावित कर रही है। इस पत्र में इन परिवर्तनों को दर्शाने वाले सांख्यिकीय अध्ययन शामिल है। धन्यवाद महोदय।
Honorable Minister of Rural Development.
Sir, I request the permission to present a few documents related to rural development. Number 1, a report on the current rural development programs and initiatives. This comprehensive report provides an overview of the ongoing rural development programs
and initiatives implemented by government agencies and non-government organizations. Number 2, an assessment of rural infrastructure and access. This assessment paper evaluates the state of infrastructure in rural areas, including the transportation network, healthcare facilities, and educational institutions. Number 3, policy recommendations for improving the rural development. These policy recommendations proposes the strategies to accelerate rural development and improve the quality of life for the rural community.
Now, the Secretary relay the message from the Upper Parliament House.
Madam, I have to report the following message from the Secretary of the Upper Chamber of Youth Parliament. In accordance with the provision of the rules of procedure and conduct of business in the Upper House of Parliament, I am directed to give you a copy of Youth Equity and Justice Act 2024 as passed by the Upper Chamber.
Secretary lay on the table a copy of the bill as passed by the Upper Parliament.
Madam, I have to report the following message received from the Secretary of the Upper Chamber of Youth Parliament, Act of Youth Equity and Justice Act 2024.
Honorable members, I have an announcement to make. On behalf of the honorable members of the House, I have a great pleasure in extending our warm welcome to Sir Adrian, the Speaker of the Dutch Parliament House, and the specific dignitaries, Julia Smith, First Deputy Speaker, Mrs. Sophie Jansen, the Second Deputy Speaker. The delegations arrived on Monday, 19th of August 2024. They are presently seated in the special box. We wish them a happy and fruitful stay, and through them would like to convey our warm greetings to the President, the Prime Minister, the Dutch delegations, the government and the friendly people of Netherlands.
Respected members of the Parliament, I would like to thank the government and the people of India for treating us with such respect, care and love. During my stay here since Monday, the 19th of August, I've been able to understand the culture of India and its rich heritage it upholds. It truly amazes me how the people have been able to maintain such history even in today's time. I respect this great Parliament, and I will carry such a nice experience and will definitely implement this in our country. I'm delighted to be present here today.
Now, let us take up the calling attention motion. May the Minister to take it up, Madam Manorama.
Honorable Speaker, ma'am, I wish to express my deep gratitude and respect to our late Union Minister, Mr. Nataraj Chinnaswamy, who tragically passed away in the recent stampede in Uttar Pradesh during a religious gathering. This incident, which also claimed 121 other lives, including women, and left many injured, highlights a recurring issue in our country, which is stampede at large religious gathering. Over the past 8 to 10 years, countless people have lost their life. Even after the 2013 stampede, which took away 115 lives, I repeat, 115 lives, the government has taken no measures to prevent this. Madam, I question the Home Minister whether the government would have taken any measure to prevent these tragedies if a minister had not lost his life. I urge the government to take immediate and effective measure to prevent these tragedies in future and to protect the life of people. Thank you.
Honorable Home Minister, Srimati Anvata.
Honorable Speaker, Madam, I would like to begin by expressing my deepest condolences for the loss of our esteemed Union Minister, Sri Nataraj Chinnaswamy, and the other victims of the tragic stampede that took place in Uttar Pradesh. Our thoughts are with their families and their loved ones during this difficult time. Madam, we had also provided them with defense services such as CRPF for the safety and security of the needy people. Madam, however, I would like to say that this is a matter of state. I repeat, this is a matter of state. And we are still waiting for a detailed report on this issue. Whatever requirements are needed by the state government will be provided for them. Thank you, Madam.
The House will now take up the consideration of the Youth Equity and Justice Act 2024. The Minister to take it.
Honorable Speaker Madam, in recognition of the fundamental rights of the young people and for taking up an equitable and just society of the youth of our country, the legislation seeks out for treating each and every youth equally, providing them with necessary resources and to also enforce them so that they contribute meaningfully to their respective communities. The youth hereby refers to age group between 14 to 24. The main objectives of this bill is, first, to promote equal opportunities for each and every youth in our country. Second, encourage the youth in decision making which will affect their lives positively. Third, address towards issues and barriers that the marginalized youth community are facing. Fourth, enforcing the youth so that they can reach to their full potential. Under this act, the central government shall also make a Youth Equity and Justice Council consisting of 10 youth representatives between the age group of 14 to 24, 7 adult advisors, and also the chair of the council. This council is hereby to recommend and review policies relating to issues and cases of the youth equity and justice, and will also see on for monitoring the implementation of these policies. It will also help in facilitating the youth participation into decision making. As per for the education, the government and the public sectors as well as the private sectors are hereby encouraged to provide proper internship programs and proper employment opportunities to all the youth without any discrimination. The schools and educational institutions shall also provide them with equitable educational resources so that they can reach to their full potential. As before the health, much better policies and programs would be hereby implemented. The youth of the country will also properly be encouraged to take part in local and national decision making. Also, the establishment and supportment of leadership programs would also take place, which will help them in building up their confidence and improve their skills. The council will also make an annual report detailing about the progress that the youth equity and justice policies and initiatives have done, challenges that they have faced, and also recommendations relating to these initiatives. There would also be a mechanism of feedback in which the youth of our country can give feedback relating to the issues of the equity and justice of the youth. And if relevant, then they would be applied in the further policies and programs. Adequate and proper funding would be provided to the council for the much better implementation of the policies and programs. Thus, this act shall be implemented upon the 27th of January 2025, and the Youth Equity and Justice Council shall be authorized to see up to this bill. This bill will be reviewed into every 5 years, and any amendment can be made by the members of the council or by the members of the Youth Parliament. Thus, enacted by the Youth Parliament on the 21st of August 2024. Thank you, Your Honor.
Madam, I am confident that every member of this House, irrespective of their party affiliation, will take the bill wholeheartedly. Sir Pranay, would you like to add something to this?
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदया, मैं इस सम्मानित युवा सदन का ध्यान युवा समानता और न्याय अधिनियम की गंभीरता पर लाना चाहता हूँ। महोदया, इस अधिनियम को कार्यान्वयन के लिए महत्वपूर्ण संसाधनों की आवश्यकता है, जिनमें नए कार्यक्रम और परिषदों के वित्त पोषण भी शामिल है, लेकिन मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि इससे वित्तीय तनाव और संसाधनों में गलत आवंटन हो सकता है। इस अधिनियम का मकसद है सबको समान अवसर प्रदान करना, लेकिन इससे कई असमानताएं पैदा हो सकती है। कुछ समूहों पर संसाधनों को केंद्रित करने से उन लोगों में नाराजगी की भावना पैदा हो सकती है, जिसे आमतौर पर लक्षित किया नहीं गया है। माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदया, इस अधिनियम का दायरा बहुत ही व्यापक है, जिससे यह सुनिश्चित करना बहुत ही मुश्किल हो जाता है कि सबको समान रूप से संबोधित किया गया है या नहीं। अंत में इतना ही कहना चाहूँगा, इसे लागू करने में हमें सावधानी और सोच समझकर काम लेना चाहिए। धन्यवाद महोदया।
श्रीमती आकृति।
Thank opportunity to speak on the Youth Equity and Justice Act, which represents a crucial step towards addressing systematic inequalities and promoting fairness for all young people. Madam, this act is very much required to promote equal opportunities for the youth by mandating equitable access to education, employment, and healthcare. The act ensures every young person, regardless of their background, has the chance to succeed. In addition to this, the Act also empowers youth participation, which emphasizes the importance of involving youth in decision-making process. Speaker Madam, in our country, many youth faces significant barriers due to social economic status, race, and other factors. The Act ensures every young person, regardless of their background, has the chance to succeed. As we all know, the Youth Equity and Justice Act are the two major important factors for our youth society. अगर देश को आगे ले जाना है तो युवाओं को आगे लाना पड़ेगा। अगर देश को आगे ले जाना है तो युवाओं को आगे लाना पड़ेगा। नज़र भी बदलेगी और नज़रिया भी बदलेगा। जी, नज़र भी बदलेगी, नज़रिया भी बदलेगा, मगर सोच में पहले बदलाव लाना पड़ेगा, मगर सोच में बदलाव पहले लाना पड़ेगा। धन्यवाद।
Srimati Dia, would you like to add something?
Honorable members, while I agree that the youth representative in the YEJC, Youth Representative Justice Council is a positive step, there may be concerns about how elected youths are. Social economic background and accessibility to the election process could also arise, and we also need to consider that there need to be a basic maturity in these kids if they make rash decisions because they find it fun. Who will take the consequences and how will they be able to manage their education with these activities? Thank you, ma'am.
Srimati Lahiri, would you like to say something?
Madam, I agree with your concerns, but the Youth Equity and Justice Council ensures youth participation in decisions affecting their lives, empowering them as informed leaders. Leadership programs and active involvement will help them manage work-life balance, fostering a future capable leaders, and ensuring advancing the youth of our nation.
Srimati Arushi, would you conclude?
Honorable Speaker Madam, I would like to say that defy rapidly changing society. The policies may become outdated before they are reviewed, leading to ineffective solutions. The requirement for a majority of approval for amendment could slow down the process of making necessary changes, potentially hindering the bill's adaptability to new challenges. So, we either need to reduce the duration or make an alternative plan. Thank you, Madam.
Sir Shreyas?
Madam, I would like to have a better clarity on section 2.
Srimati Yashashwini?
Yes, Sir Shreyas, around 51% of youth has started to decrease. And this is not the data which includes only mental health, only physical health. And this is to a concerning matter, Madam. So I feel that this bill needs to be enacted as soon as possible.
Ministry of Law and Justice, please conclude.
Respected sirs and madams, I'm grateful to all the members of the parliament who have supported my bill. I'm also grateful to those members who have showed their contradiction towards it. Thus, I'd like to conclude that I hope the youth of our country are to be seen the true form of justice. I highly understand and respect the sentiments of the members and the people, but this should be our topmost priority.
I understand, Now, the question is that the bill provides for more effective prevention of the Commission of the Youth Equity and Justice Act of 2024 and for any matters connected to be taken into consideration. Those who are in favor will say aye. Those who are against it will say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Sir Shreyas, are you moving your consideration?
No, madam. In the views of the reply given by the ministers, I am not pressing my amendment.
Now, the question is that the amendment in clause 5 stands as part of the bill. Those who are in favor will say aye. Those who are against will say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Clause 5 stands part of the bill. Now, the question is that the 9 clauses, the enacting formula 666 from chapter 20 and the title Youth Equity and Justice Act of 2024 stand part of the bill. Those who are in favor will please say aye. Those who are against it will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted clause by clause. Minister of Legal Justice and Parliamentary Affairs, please do the needful. Now, the House will take up the private member's resolution. Shriman Arab to move the resolution.
Honorable Speaker, ma'am, I move the following resolution to address the ill treatment of our senior citizens. जिस देश में बड़े बुजुर्गों का सम्मान नहीं होता, उस देश में कभी सुख, संतुष्टि और स्वाभिमान नहीं हो सकता. Our nation, known for respecting their elders, is failing. Our elders are someone who teach us our tradition, family values, the role of spirituality in our life, and make us who we are today. However, they are no longer getting the respect they deserve. Madam, the data that I have collected is really shocking. Around 20.5% of our senior citizens are suffering from mental issues, and 13,126 senior citizens have committed suicide in the year 2020. I repeat, 13,126 senior citizens have committed suicide in the year 2020. The rate of domestic elderly abuse has increased by 5.22% since 2012. It is truly disheartening that our elders have to go through so much abuse. Therefore, I propose action against those people of our country who do not respect our elders and press for more support from the government beyond the existing Maintenance and Welfare of Senior Citizens Act 2007. This only covers the financial aspect. However, I urge to take steps for the mental well-being of our elders as well. Thank you.
Srimati Soumya.
The MP who proposed the resolution on the welfare of the elderly in our nation. However, I must point out that certain key details may not have been fully conveyed to Mr. Arab. There are already numerous campaigns and initiatives in place to support the elderly in our country. While I acknowledge the challenges faced by many of the elderly citizens, I believe this resolution may not be necessary as India traditionally holds its elder at high regards. It is also important to recognize that enforcing strict measures to people could be difficult, given that many individuals face financial constraints and the elder care in our nation remains high. These factors must be carefully considered while shaping this resolution. Thank you, Madam.
Srimati Spurti.
Yes, Madam Speaker. Firstly, I'm thankful to you for granting me with such opportunities. Though I agree with Sir Arif on the fact that the elders of our nation are being mistreated. But we also need to consider the fact that there are various measures taken by the government to help them financially. We have National Pension System, Pradhan Mantri Vaya Vyavadhan Yojana, Indira Gandhi Old Age Pension Schemes along with other schemes. I repeat, National Pension System, Pradhan Mantri Vaya Vyavadhan Yojana, Indira Gandhi Old Age Pension Schemes along with other schemes. So, we have various measures and also healthcare programs for them. So, though I agree with Sir Arif, but we have already solution with us.
Sir Arif.
Madam, I am grateful to the honorable members for lending support to my resolution. Given the assurance by the honorable ministers, and since the law has already been enacted to deal with this menace, I hope that the government will take all stringent measures to eliminate this problem. Therefore, I may please be allowed to withdraw my resolution. Thank you.
Has the honorable member decided to withdraw his decision? Yes. Now, the resolution by the respected MP has been withdrawn. The House will meet tomorrow at 11 a.m. Thank you.